This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
It's game time, soccer fans. Join us and Michelob Ultra for the Ultimate Club World Cup viewing party Sunday, July 13th, this Sunday from noon to 2 at the local downtown. Now you're speaking my language. Enter to win lots of great prizes, all while enjoying great drink specials. Don't miss out. We'll see you at the local this Sunday.
All right, we're back as we turn the page to the 11 o'clock hour, 9 to noon on the Fan. Sinekin in for PA. It's the Friday Football East with me and Blakemore. We're going to talk some NFC North this segment. Let's just do a little reset on what's going on in the world of sports. The Timberwolves won their first Summer League game yesterday afternoon, I guess, over the New Orleans Pelicans. We'll talk with Johnny Krasinski, Jonny Athletic, covering the Wolves in Vegas in our very next segment. It was a Bafo debut for the 18-year-old Frenchman, Joan Béranger, who had 7 blocks in 23 minutes of action, including 2 on his very first defensive play. Fun young kid to watch, and we'll get Johnny's thoughts on him. Big ball game at Target Field tonight. Great pitchers matchup. Joe Ryan against Pirates phenom Paul Skeens. 7-10, Target Field tonight. Twins trying to rebound from their 8-1 loss to the Cubs. They did take 2 out of 3 against the Cubbies, but they'll close out the pre-All-Star break part of their schedule with the Pirates in town with a terrific pitching matchup at Target Field tonight. And the Lynx rebound last night with a 9-point win over the L.A. Sparks. Letitia Heidemann off the bench with 18, the Green Bay native. I always have to refer to her as a Green Bay native. She fueled what was a really rocky start for the Lynx, down 11 in the first quarter. She and a couple of her benchmates come in. It's a 24-8 run, and the rest is history. 30 first-half bench points for your Minnesota Lynx as they beat the Sparks 91-82 and continue to have the best record in the WNBA. We'll have Lynx basketball tomorrow at noon on our flagship 100.3 FM, The Fan. Mentioned Wimbledon as well. Carlos Alcaraz moves into the final on the men's side. His opponent, TBD, just underway. Sinner, Joker at center court. If anything crazy happens in the next hour or so, we'll let you know. We got an hour to go. Again, Jonny Athletic. Next segment, we are T-minus 15 days from Vikings training camp opening. Football is just so close we can taste it. And while it is, the deadest time of the year, we still love to talk football. And the North, as we've talked about, is, I think, widely considered the most competitive division in the NFL. I think it went into last season that way. I'm a little surprised HBO didn't choose the NFC North for their in-season Hard Knocks. They went AFC North, I believe. Is that correct? Brett, do you remember?
Didn't they do that?
Or was that last year?
I think that was
last year. I think it's NFC East, now that I think of it. I think it's NFC East, which I get that, it's the most wildly popular division, right? Cowboys and Eagles, and obviously Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. I think that's what they went with. But you certainly could have made a case for the NFC North being featured because all 4 teams feel really good about where they stand. I looked this morning at the odds in the NFC North, and obviously you can find a million different places to give you odds that are all going to vary just a little bit. But I think, pretty much I took the average. And as it sits right now, the Lions are still favored at plus 150. Packers are next at plus 250. Vikings at plus 350. And the Bears at plus 450. And I can't help but wonder, how much does that irk Viking fans that the Packers are picked ahead of them as far as favorites go? The Vikings, of course, off a 14-win season, but we all know it's all about the quarterback spot, and it's all about the unknown, about what J.J. McCarthy might bring to this team. Is this the most anticipated Viking season maybe ever? Because you think about last year, it was the same in a way because here comes J.J. McCarthy with the quarterback whisperer. And are they going to make beautiful music together? And obviously it all goes sour with the injury. But they weren't coming off a 14-win season at that point. There weren't remember the expectations last year? It was like, wasn't the win total like 6.5 or 7 for the Vikes heading into the season? And obviously, with Darnold having the season he did and Flores' defense playing the way they did, we all know what happened, 14-3. But I would have to think the anticipation level, like, help me out here. Is there a season you were more excited about heading into? Because you get the added, like, maybe, just maybe, we're going to find out that we've got a quarterback that's going to run this team for the next 10 or 12 years. Something this organization has not had, what, in anybody's life? I mean, you got to be pretty old. You got to go back to, I mean, even Tarkenton left and came back. So I have to think expectations and excitement, maybe not expectations, excitement has to be at an all-time high because of the unknown and what the ceiling could be if McCarthy can jump right in. And I think seeing the rookie quarterbacks from a year ago and the success they had has to give Viking fans even more hope and excitement. Forget Jaden Daniels, who had a historically great rookie season. Probably didn't see that coming for that organization, which has been so bad for a lot of years, since the glory years in the 80s and 90s when they won a few Super Bowls. I was bullish on Jaden Daniels, but I did not see coming what we saw coming. And Caleb Williams, it was uneven, but you always take that with a grain of salt that he's with an organization that's basically never had a successful quarterback, didn't have the coaching in place, I don't think, to get him rolling correctly. When you read reports that he was left alone to watch film, like, really? You're not going to have a coach in there to help him out? So a lot of things were made more difficult for Williams, and I don't think we know yet what he is. But when you see what Bo Nix did and Drake May did in lifting teams that, frankly, weren't, certainly in the Patriots' case, were terrible, and with the Broncos, expectations were low, and they both have given their fan bases significant reason to be excited about the future. And Michael Penix comes in midseason. We don't know quite yet what he is, but I think Falcons fans are excited that they're not rolling it back with Kirk, that they've got their young guy, and they're going to see what they got. And JJ, of course, was supposed to be in that mix as well, so we had to wait a year. But because of the success those other guys had, I have to think that Vikings fans feel like, winner at Michigan, he's got Kevin O'Connell, he's got all the pieces. How can he fail? But again, there's pressure, and there's a lot that goes into that. But then there's Green Bay, who's picked to finish second in the North. And I think, Brett, you and I both are bullish about our favorite team's chances this year. Second year defensively under Jeff Hafley. The defense was a top 10 unit. Both offense and defense finished top 10 in DVOA in the NFL a year ago. I feel like the defense in year 2 under Hafley, as they get more players in that he likes for his system, I think the defense has a chance to be a lot better. But there are a couple big question marks defensively for Green Bay. The decision to move on from Jair Alexander means that the cornerback room is kind of Vikings-like. There's not a ton of star power. You don't feel great about the depth. Green Bay is going to roll out with free agent addition Nate Hobbs, Keyshawn Nixon, Carrington Valentine. I mean, it's not star-studded. And Green Bay's other hole is at pass rusher, where Rashawn Gary got double-teamed a lot, didn't look like the Rashawn Gary pre-ACL, and they're still waiting for Iowa's third-year guy, Lucas Van Ness, to step into that role and be what was a first-round draft pick. But otherwise, Edgerrin Cooper, the linebacker rookie last year, it looks like he's going to step into stardom. Xavier McKinney changed the safety room. So I'm excited about what this Packer defense might look like this year.
Yeah, when you talk about the secondary, it's really good as far as the safeties go. I mean, with Evan Williams, obviously Xavier McKinney was a season changer. What was it? How many games did he go with interceptions straight? It was like 6.
6 to start the year, I think.
Very good. But yeah, and when we're looking at are the Packers going to regress? And I've heard that a lot. It's like, who did we besides Jair, who wasn't playing to begin with? Yeah. So it's not really much of a loss because we barely had him at all last year. They didn't really lose anybody. And all they did was add. They added offensively. They added defensively. So, and it was an 11 win operation last year.
Yeah.
And now you're going to have a healthy Jordan Love, which I think is a huge talker because I think he was playing with injury all year and he was still statistically pretty good. I think with him healthy, now you've got Golden, who is more of a, he's your deep threat, but I thought the Packers passing game a lot was either a check down or a bomb. There wasn't really that middle, like a man beater who could get you on a 10-yard in route. And I think Golden is quick enough and agile enough to do that. So he brings another thing that the Packers don't really have. I mean, tell me how we didn't get better. I think there's no reason that it can't be an 11-12 win operation again and make the playoffs, if not win the division.
Before you complain too much about the Packer talk, we're calling this know your enemy. Like, there's value in
that's the excuse,
having knowledge about the team you're trying to beat. And so we're going to give you a little bit of that knowledge for a couple minutes here on a Friday, on the Friday Football East. Why would we call it the East if we didn't at least for a moment look at Green Bay's offseason, which, as you say, kind of like to the Vikings to a lesser degree, it's about Jordan Love's development in year 3. Year 3 was the year as a starter that Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl for Green Bay. Now, maybe those expectations aren't quite that high for Jordan Love, but there is the expectation that he raises his game. And it's different because this team is a run-first operation. It's going to run through Josh Jacobs as it did last year. Packers have a running game that at a level that they probably never had with Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre. There were good years with Eddie Lacy and Amon Green and so forth, but Jacobs gives you that top 5, top 6 running back, and this offense will start with him. I think another guy that a lot of people are going to hear about is Marshawn Lloyd, who was a 3rd-round pick a year ago, the running back out of USC, who only played 1 game last year, dealing with a number of injuries. This guy is electric, and if he can stay healthy, will give Green Bay a bit of a thunder and lightning look in the backfield that they didn't have a year ago. And, one thing lost in some of the criticism of Jordan Love last year was Green Bay's receivers led the league in drops. That's not to say that can't continue, but I'd like to think a very young receiver room, a year older, a lot of those guys staring at paychecks and knowing they have to deliver now or Green Bay is going to move on. I think you're going to see improved play from Jaden Reed and Romeo Doubs and Dontavion Wicks. And when you talk about tight end Tucker Kraft, he's sort of looking like a George Kittle type of a path he is on. His yards after the catch, how electric and productive he was as the season went on. And they've said they are going to put the ball more and more in his hands. So you fantasy guys, if you don't land Brock Bowers or a tight end early, Tucker Kraft might be a nice sneaky addition in the middle rounds. Yeah, I'm bullish on this team. It's all about Love taking that next step as a leader, and I do believe the defense is going to look even better than it did a year ago. So I think Green Bay is a force in this division, like it or not. I mentioned earlier, I do think the Lions take a step back, losing the coordinators, losing the linemen that they lost, and yes, they get Aiden Hutchinson back, and that's obviously massive, but they don't have that second pass rusher that's still they rented a guy last year. So that's a concern. You can take Aiden Hutchinson out a little bit. What's that defense going to be like without Aaron Glenn leading the charge? And without those linemen, is Jared Goff as effective? They still have terrific dynamic playmakers. We know that. But without Ben Johnson calling the plays, don't they skip a beat or two? So it feels like there's an opportunity for our two teams to jump up and grab the NFC North this year. As far as the Bears go, where are you on the Bears now with Dennis Allen, very good defensive coach, taking over the defense? We know about Ben Johnson grabbing hold of Caleb Williams. They've got some nice pieces as well. I still wonder whether Johnson can implement the offense he wants without a really good running back. They have DeAndre Swift. They didn't address that running back spot. I still think that's an issue. Their O-line they've invested in. We'll see if it pays off. The Jonah Jackson addition raised my eyebrows a bit. He was not good, got hurt most of last year. They paid him. How dangerous do you think the Bears are?
Well, at one point you could have said Swift was a good running back, so maybe he
was okay.
He was okay. I thought he was pretty good. And maybe it was the team that he was on, but I'm at the point where, and I think we're already even pre-Ben Johnson hiring, I think we're to the point we saw it last year where it took a blocked field goal to beat him once. And then we lost. despite sitting some people. But we still lost, and I won't use that as an excuse at all. So I think I'm scared in the fact that our free win is now definitely gone. That is a thing of the past, which sucks. Because it was absolutely a guaranteed. You could mark it on the calendar, W, and move on with your life. Not so much anymore. Am I scared that they'll compete for the division? Maybe not this year, but I am scared in general for the near future that they could be good, which is horrifying to say. Yeah.
Well, and like McCarthy, Caleb Williams faces immeasurable pressure in year two, and he was the number one pick, and everybody saw what Jaden Daniels did. So how does Caleb Williams deal with that? And is Ben Johnson the right guy to help him through that and get the most out of that amazing natural ability that he has? Going to be fun. It's going to be a fun year in the North, as we always say in the summer. We want everybody healthy. Let JJ get through the summer. We want to see you week 1 at Soldier Field. We want all these guys to stay healthy because it looks like popcorn munching viewing in the NFC North. Every game should be really competitive this season. Cannot wait. All right, let's turn the page, talk a little hoops. Jonny Krasinski joins from Sin City. He's in Vegas covering the Wolves Summer League. What did he think of Johan Berenger's debut and the other Wolves in their first game and more? Johnny, next on The Fan.
Before we go, The Fan and BigDeck.com, I'm going to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with the National Cash Contest. Head to KFAN.com. The keyword is Bills. Keyword Bills. KFAN.com. Keyword Bills. Jonny Athletic talking Wolves now. You're ready to laugh out loud. Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias is bringing his comedy tour to Treasure Island Resort and Casino September 6th and 7th. Don't miss your chance to see one of the world's funniest comedians. Get your tickets today. TICasino.com.
I do love the 9 to noon bumper music. I don't do this show a whole lot. It's fun to hear some of this stuff.
I can mix some of it in on Saturdays. Do you like that?
No, I think we got her in the zone vibe. I think we're good with that. But, for me, having a cup of coffee here on a Friday morning, I'm digging it. Let's turn our attention to basketball as we welcome in regular fan favorite, Jonny Krasinski, who is down in Las Vegas covering Summer League action with our favorite team, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Johnny, good morning. How we doing, bud?
Good morning, Dave. I'm doing great. Just trying to stay warm out here. It's a little chilly out here in Vegas, only about 105.
I'm sure, yeah.
Doing the best we can.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Are you there for the entire run that the Wolves are there, or do you get to come home?
Oh, God, no, Dave. I like to stay married, so I am only going to be here through tomorrow and then coming home. There were times back in my younger days where I would be here for 7-8 days and really just soaking it all up, but not at this stage of life, my boy, and I'm only too happy to get out of here as soon as possible.
I get that. How much are you a Vegas guy? How much of Vegas do you get a chance to enjoy? Do you gamble? Do you enjoy the pools? Do you enjoy the Strip? Any of that stuff? Or are you locked in watching Summer League at every venue you can?
Yeah, I'm not a Vegas guy at all. I'm not a gambler, number one. I go to I'll go to, all these places and everything is super expensive unless you're gambling. So that's not a fun thing. I love going to the gym and watching games. Like, that is super cool. There's agents, executives, coaches, all sorts of people you can kind of network with and get in touch with and have conversations with. That part's awesome. I also enjoy kind of just meeting up with some of the other journalists and, having a drink or having a meal around here. But everything else, Las Vegas related, you can get me out of here fast enough.
So you'll stay for the Wolves Nuggets tomorrow night, then you'll head home on Sunday, correct?
Actually, I'm going to get out right before Wolves Nuggets.
Oh.
So I saw the one game, and then today Alex Rodriguez and Mark Laurie are having a kind of an introductory press conference, so I'll go to that, and then we're going home tomorrow afternoon because the wife's birthday is on Sunday. So happy
lovely.
birthday to Mrs. Athletic, and we'll have a little fun celebrating that.
All right, please give Mrs. Athletic our best wishes for a fine birthday. What do you expect to get out of a press conference with the new owners? Is this more like from a national perspective, everyone's first chance to talk with them? Do you expect anything newsworthy to come out of it?
Yeah, I don't know that I expect any grand announcements, Dave. I sat down with Alex and Mark right after the Board of Governors approved them, and we really went through a lot of the pressing issues that they're facing, that they're thinking about going into it. So I don't know that they're going to break a ton of new ground here today, but I do think this is serving as sort of like a national launch pad for them. And the entire league is here in Las Vegas. There'll be all sorts of different media people there, and so I think this is their first real opportunity to speak to that audience at large. And so this is kind of part of the process of them introducing themselves to the league as owners. And I'm sure we'll hear of some initiatives. They have a new ticket kind of platform that they just announced this morning. And I think they're really focused on a lot of business side changes and adjustments to try and create more revenue streams. But in terms of the basketball side of things, that's all pretty status quo. And so I think, I think a lot of it will be what we have heard already from them.
All right, well, let's talk about what we did see on the basketball court yesterday. Wolves Pelicans. For the first time, you get to see the young rookie Frenchman center. I know I was dialed in at the start, couldn't wait to see what he might look like, and he, not to put too much into it, but he completely surpassed any expectation, I think, for me or any Wolves fan, for a couple reasons. One, yes, the 2 blocks on the very first defensive possession kind of set the tone. 5 blocks in the first half, 5 for 5. But we always say, it's summer league. But Johnny, they had a second-team all-rookie center in Messi on the court. He wasn't playing against a bunch of wannabes. He looked like he was ready for this. What was your take on Berenger's debut, which I think has a lot of us Wolves fans just itching for more?
Yeah, I think, all normal summer league rules apply, Dave, in terms of if the player you like or intrigued by has a bad game, you say, it's just summer league. It's not even really reflective of the NBA game. Everything will be fine when the season starts. But if they have a good game, then you say, here we go. This is a legend, future Hall of Famer. But that said, I really was impressed because you said it about Messi. He faced Derek Queen, another highly touted big in the draft as well. But it was less about sort of things that you look at and say, well, good shooting or, kind of some variance elements that can be up and down, and more about things that really appear to be repeatable. I was just really impressed by how under control he was defensively. He did, a lot of times, young big men commit a lot of fouls, especially in these summer league games, because you're eager, you're kind of flying all over the place. And Berenger did not have any foul trouble. I think he had 2 in the entire game. What you could see early on when Messi got the ball in the paint against Berenger, he tried to do pump fakes. He tried to kind of use any enthusiasm against him and trick him and get him up. And Berenger just kept his feet, did not bite on it, and used his length to really bother Messi and really bother Derek Queen and really bother all these guys at the rim. And then he was just blocking everything. He was really reading plays and doing well. And so I just think from an instincts standpoint on defense, it's really tantalizing. He's been playing the game, Dave, for 4 years. He started when he was 14 years old. And to see already how quickly some of those things have just sunk in with him, the Wolves, I can't tell you enough, they love him. They really think he could be a good player over the long haul. Is he going to be ready right away? No, but there's a lot of people very, very excited about what they have here. Yeah,
when we talk about him being 18, the Pelicans prize rookie Jeremiah Fears is also 18. Now, yes, he played a year of major college basketball, but it's not illegal to be a somewhat contributor as an 18-year-old. Obviously, if you're on a lousy team, you get more of a longer rope there. But, yes, no expectations this season. But, worst comes to worst, they need to put him in, for a couple of rotations. From what we saw, at least game 1, I don't think they should be real afraid that he's going to just be a disaster out there.
Yeah, no, and I think part of that, Dave, is just the physicality of him. You know, so many times we see a 7-foot big guy come into the league at 18, 19 years old, and they're just beanpoles. I mean, you think Chet Holmgren, you think a lot of those guys that they just don't have the muscle yet, their body hasn't developed. But Johan is 6'11", 235. He's solid. Like, he cannot. He has a lot of strength involved in him already, and that, you know, the Wolves anticipate that he'll grow into his body even more. But you know, he's going to come into this situation, and I think it's really ideal for him because you have Rudy Gobert, Naz Reid, Julius Randle in the front court, so that he doesn't have to rush into things at all. They can bring him along slowly and gradually, let him ease into it. But I do think that if at some point, God forbid, one of the big guys goes down with an injury for a couple of weeks or something, could he step in and at least physically hold up and not get manhandled out there? I think that's a real possibility, and that's a very good place to start.
For sure. Beyond him, what sets this summer league roster apart is the Wolves have 3 guys out there that are expected to be, you know, key rotational players off the bench this season in Clark, Dillingham, and Shannon. So they were both in, or they were all in, all game long. Like, even at the end, they were trying to win that game. My question is, do you think that continues? Do these guys continue to get minutes? We saw Baron J get, you know, knocked down a couple times holding his wrist. We saw Shannon take a hard fall. Do you think as summer league goes along, the 3 guys maybe take a back seat to some of the other guys on the roster? Or do you think this organization is trying to prove something and maybe win this thing?
Well, I did ask Kevin Hansen that yesterday, the coach of the team after the game, and he did say, we want to win this thing. We're in this to win this. Now, I would say that there's a possibility or maybe even a probability that maybe Terrence Shannon Jr. plays 2 or 3 games, and that's enough. He's 25 years old. He is clearly ready and established. He looked great in the first game. And he's a very important part of their plans for the rotation once the regular season begins. So is it possible that, you know, his playing time is ramped down eventually? Yeah, I do think with Rob Dillingham, they really want him to get real minutes running a team and not just looking for his own shot, but getting other people involved, really kind of figuring out how to orchestrate the offense, and that just comes with reps. And he didn't play much at all as a rookie, and he probably will have to play quite a bit as a sophomore. And so I do believe that there's a view that he needs more time out there, and so I would think that he would probably play more than Shannon does. With Jalen Clark, again, another guy who's ready to play and doesn't need a ton of minutes, but you also want him to kind of continue to develop his offensive feel and his offensive game more to go with the defense that is already legit. So there are real reasons to keep several of these young guys out there for extended stretches and for multiple games. And we'll see if they veer from that going forward. But I do think they want to get these guys some real minutes and let them go out and run around and just get a feel for the game.
What was your take on Rob's performance? It felt a little uneven, like he tried to force some flashy plays in. He had 7 turnovers. He did make 3 out of 6 threes, and he gives you those plays where you just get so excited about what he might be, but then you just go, man, what are you trying to do there? What were your thoughts of his first performance?
I thought it was up and down. I thought he was okay. I didn't think he was terrible. I didn't think he was great. And so there's a couple things I liked to start. One is that, yes, he turned the ball over a lot. There was only 1 or 2 that were live ball turnovers, and so it seemed like the decision-making was okay. It's just that you do want to see him have a mentality of being a playmaker and not just a highlight reel scorer. And so he's working on that part of his game as a point guard, and he knows that needs to happen for him to get real time on the court this year. And so even some of the turnovers that he was making were coming from the right place in his heart in terms of, like, I got to get these other guys the ball. I got to, get them involved. And so if he's forcing that early, I think that's okay. And he can kind of grow and evolve with that and figure out what he can get away with and what he can't. The other thing I really liked is I liked his defensive intensity. I thought he was picking up full court. He was, getting into fears. He was trying to at least make things difficult on him. And I don't think he's ever going to be an all defense guy, but they want to see effort and energy there. And he showed that. On the other side of things, I was really concerned about his difficulty finishing at the rim. He is an undersized guard. That's going to be an issue for him. But in this summer league, you'd like to see him get cleaner looks and convert those against lesser defenders that he's going to face in the NBA. And it was a little rough that way in this first game, in just terms of like his ability to get his shot off at the rim when the big guys were lingering around there. And so I think he's got a lot of work to do. I have seen improvement, but you want to see more of it going forward for sure.
Finchy joined the broadcast for a few minutes, and I think he made the one newsworthy comment when he said, we expect for sure to go 9 or 10 players deep next season. That's a change. How surprised were you to hear that, for him to throw that out there here in July? And I think for a lot of Wolves fans, it's exactly what they want to hear, that this team has some young players that deserve a chance to get some minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't surprised, frankly, Dave, because he did say it also right after the season was over in his exit interview after the loss to Oklahoma City, just saying that, he recognizes that some of these young guys really have to play. They have to get out there. They deserve it. They put in the work. And I think it will help the team as well to expand that rotation and give him different elements and different ways to try to win games with those guys. That said, we do have to see him actually do it, because there were several times during the season last year where maybe Rob Dillingham plays really well, or Terrence Shannon or Jalen Clark come in and really have a good game. And after every one of those games, he said, yes, this player definitely earned minutes going forward, and I have to get him into the rotation. And then he just didn't. There were good reasons for that, of course. Like, he had 8 really good, reliable veteran players, and they were in a dogfight of Western Conference and trying to win every game. But I think Finch really does, kind of in the heat of the moment, he skews toward, I'm going to do whatever it takes to win the game, and he's been validated with that, with the way that the team has played over the last 2 years. But he said before that he's going to play the young guys. We just have to see him actually do it now. But there is a recognition, I think, on his part that these guys have been here long enough. They deserve some time, and it will kind of help everyone involved if he does expand that rotation.
Last one for you. Got about a minute or so. Ed in St. Paul texted and wanted me to ask you about your thoughts on the rebranding and the new look for the Wolves. I don't know if the owners will discuss that today, but it sounds like they are ready to rebrand this team. How much do you know about the timeline and what that might look like?
Yeah, I actually am planning on bringing that up at the press conference today, because that's one thing I didn't really get into in detail with them when I sat down with them a couple weeks ago. But like you said, Dave, I do know that they understand that a rebrand, a refresh is necessary. The uniforms just, they're kind of plain, and they don't really hit and resonate. The City Edition stuff has all been really, really good, I think, but the standard uniforms that they wear need to be mixed up, and so they do want to do it, but I don't have specifics on timeline yet. I don't, it's not going to be this year, I don't think, but certainly in the next year or two, I would expect a pretty significant change into how they look on the court with their uniforms, maybe with the logo. And really diving into that, because they have certainly heard feedback from the fans that the current uniforms just aren't doing it. And, with a player like Anthony Edwards, with a team that is on the rise in the West and is more of a factor nationally, they want to look better doing it. And so I fully expect them to roll something out eventually, and we'll see if we can get a little bit more detail from them on that this afternoon.
Sounds good. We'll continue to follow your writings at The Athletic. Safe travels home tomorrow. Enjoy the birthday celebration on Sunday, my man.
All right. Thanks, Henny. We'll talk to you soon, man.
Sounds good. John Krasinski, kind enough to give us some time on a Friday. We'll come back and put a wrap on the Football East after these. Why did Common leave the studio? We just throw the mic on and super show for 10 minutes. He's in fine form already.
He is fired. He must have had a good round by the sounds of it.
There's no question.
Yeah.
He broke 80. Actually, he's got to prep for his show these last 10 minutes.
That's right.
He's got work to do.
Did you sign up for his free show at his office?
Did not.
Yeah, so maybe he's got a sign-up sheet.
Very possible.
Someone's got.
Very possible. Final segment for the Friday Football East, as we like to call it. Dave Sinekin in for PA, who's off today. He's off Monday. Charch will be in this chair on Monday morning, so look forward to that. I threw out back at the top of the show kind of a running segment or a running theme. If you could drop any former Viking onto this year's roster, who would it be? And I think I got 100 or so texts that have come in. I really appreciate everybody weighing in. And, early on, we got, prime Brett Favre, not necessarily 09 Brett Favre, but actually he was pretty good in 09 too. Put Brett Favre with this roster. And that, I guess, makes a lot of sense. But we have gotten names from all over the map. We've gotten the Chuck Foreman, Alan Page era. I think maybe Paul Krause. But those are the only three, I think, from, back in the Purple People Eater days. A lot of Johnny Randall thrown in, which, again, some concerns maybe. Well, not concerns, but new blood in the middle of the defensive line. Veterans that have not been healthy of late in Hargrove and Allen. So put Johnny Randall in there. How's that going to do for you? Jared Allen would be fun. Xavier Rhodes, circa 2017, got a number of votes here late. And I love that. That to me, I was thinking about this more about need. And yes, quarterback for sure is unproven, and you could call it a need. But for me, adding a cornerback depth, a star corner, Antoine Winfield, for example, would do a lot. Not the young Antoine Winfield. We're talking about his dad. Would make a big difference. It's kind of a fun exercise to think about what you could do if you could just grab a guy from days past in purple and throw him on this year's roster. Yeah, I'm like many, can't wait for football to start, and very bullish about my team's chances and really just bullish about what this NFC North can be. And when we were talking about it earlier, a reminder that the schedule is much more daunting on paper for our teams this year than last year, because last year the divisions that you got to play were, frankly, crappy divisions. And so our teams were able to sort of load up on the AFC South, for example. And that's obviously not the case this year. AFC North, outside of Cleveland, looks pretty meaty. And NFC East is always challenging. It's certainly with the Commanders' rise, and you expect Dallas with Prescott back to be better. It's a bit more of a challenge. So we have to weigh that in, that at least as things look today on paper, it's going to be a trickier road schedule-wise. We don't always think about that. Everybody got better. Schedule's everything. And do I have the Viking? Yeah, I do have the Viking schedule in front of me. Asking JJ not just to start on the road division game against a good defense in prime time is challenging in Chicago. But you come home and play Atlanta and Cincinnati, and the Bengals typically start poorly. So there is a chance for a nice 2-1, if not 3-0 start. Then you're going overseas for a couple weeks with your young quarterback. And then, that next stretch, Eagles at Chargers, at Lions, Ravens at home, that's the meat of the schedule for the Vikes coming out of that bye after the 2 weeks in Europe. That's the meat, those 4 weeks. Not that there's certainly landmines throughout, but that to me will be the interesting 4 weeks for the Vikings. Is let's say they come out of the bye at 4-1, 3-2. Does that sound about right?
I think that's about 4-1, 3-2. I think worst case.
I think the game at Chicago, the opener, might be the trickiest for me. I mean, Pittsburgh.
After watching quarterback, now I'm starting to feel the Joe Burrow hype train. So maybe that could be a little tricky one.
They're always like 0-3 or 1-4. The Bengals just always. Maybe this will be the year they don't, but I don't think the Bengals come in here and beat the Vikes.
I didn't realize, though, this. Welcome to the NFL, 2 primetime games for J.J. McCarthy.
First 2.
Welcome to it.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I didn't see that either. That's Sunday Night Football, the home opener against the Falcons with Michael Penix against J.J. McCarthy.
You wanted the spotlight. Here you go.
Well, and that's going to be that way, obviously, all season. I mean, they've got 3 road. Is it 2 or 3? Maybe it's 2 3 road primetime games. That's tricky. Starting with the Bears, going to the Chargers against Herbert, and at Dallas in December on a Sunday night. So you only have 1 home primetime game. Is it disrespectful that the Vikes only have 4 primetime games this season when a lot of teams have 5? And yes, they could end up with more. Maybe week 18, home against the Pack, is to determine the NFC North. That becomes a Sunday night game. But as it sits now, just 4 primetime games for your Purple. If
it makes you feel any better, we're as in the green and gold, are set for 4, maybe 5, depending on, because that week 16 against the Bears is listed as 3:30 or 7. So I'm going to go ahead and say that's 4 primetime games for the Pack. So same thing with our club. Are we getting overlooked as well?
Well, we're not coming off a 14-win season.
This is true.
To be fair.
This is true.
But, yeah, it can change. Flex scheduling changes everything. It's going to be a raucous summer in Eagan at TCO as the future of the Vikings is on the field for the first time since the injury. And it goes from the silence you hear is the summer abyss to 2 weeks later, every storyline's right in front of us, and we're counting down the days. It's the fair. About a month after, 5 weeks after training camp starts, we're at the fair, and then the football season's upon us. It's just like that. It's that quick. I want to thank my guest today. Began at 9:30 or so. Dane Mizutani, TwinCities.com, joined to talk a little Twins and a lot of Vikings. We had Charch on, top of the hour, 10 o'clock, talking a little fantasy, some music, some football. Charch, again, hosting this program Monday morning, 9 to noon. We talked movies and music with TwinCities.com's Ross Rayala at 10:35. And earlier this hour, Jonny Athletic. John Krasinski joined from Vegas to talk a little Wolves Summer League action. The Wolves will be back in action, Game 2 tomorrow night, 9 o'clock against the Denver Nuggets. Hope you'll join Double T and I, along with Brett Blakemore, tomorrow morning. We'll be in the zone, as usual, 8 o'clock sharp. A lot of NBA, but it's the off-season. We'll branch out just a bit as well. Hope you will join us then, 8 o'clock on this very radio station. Common Man is in the house. He is up next. The program from noon to 3, and then the Hi-Fi Dan Barrero, 3 to 6:30 as well. Enjoy your weekend. Mr. Blakemore, a pleasure to spend 3 hours with you on a Friday.
As was you. I'll see you tomorrow.
You will see me tomorrow morning. You'll see me at about 7:50. You'll see Trent at about 8:01.
That's correct.
Look forward to it. Enjoy your weekend, everybody.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
With great deals coming this Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th, greatness is a deal away. So if you love baking, you can get a deal on a new mixer, transforming you into the Lord of the Loaves.
Hear ye! Make way for the badding of brioche, the sultan of sourdough, the Lord of the Loaves, Prime Member Dave!
Yeah, hi?
Shop great deals this Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th.
Every day has a to-do list, but adding Enjoy Belvita to yours can help you knock out the rest of it. Belvita breakfast biscuits are a tasty and convenient breakfast option when paired with low-fat yogurt and fruit that provides steady energy all morning. While Belvita Energy Snack Bites give you the perfect mid-morning refuel. Best part, they both taste great. So make the most out of your morning with a bite of Belvita. Pick up a pack of Belvita at your local store today.
Every business has an ambition. PayPal Open is the platform designed to help you grow into yours. With business loans so you can expand and access to hundreds of millions of PayPal customers worldwide. And your customers can pay all the ways they want with PayPal, Venmo, Pay Later, and all major cards, so you can focus on scaling up. When it's time to get growing, there's one platform for all business. PayPal Open. Grow today at paypalopen.com. Loans subject to approval in available locations.
Does Friendly have a taste? If it does, it's probably like Hello's peppermint-flavored anti-plaque and whitening toothpaste. Brush away plaque, show tartar who's boss, and remove surface stains to naturally whiten. Hello's thoughtful and flavor-forward products make brushing your teeth feel like a confetti-filled bathroom dance party. So say hello to Hello with the always cruelty-free, never tested on animals toothpaste that's made to spread smiles. Visit HelloProducts.com and let Hello add some everyday yay into your life.